this week would have you believe that there is an EA play that didn't really happen unless you love skate, and Nate does. What's going on, Matt?
I don't know anymore.
Good answer. What are we doing?
This is the Gamers 2 podcast for June 22nd, 12:56 a.m. Your weekly roundup.
Coming live at you early on the 22nd.
Your weekly roundup of news and commentary related to the video game industry and anything else that may pique our interest that we want to blab our gums about.
Y'all hear about that baseball season? Y'all hear about that
baseball season?
soccer start back up and
that Formula One season?
that NBA season? NFL, we haven't gotten there yet, but it'll be a doozy when we do.
So, no sports still, obviously, clearly.
Well, I mean...
Are there sports? Are there any sports?
Yeah. The Premier League did, and Bundesliga and stuff like that have started back up.
With crowds or without
no
crowds? Oh, I read that thing. They're doing the fake crowds, and they're actually working really well.
Some of them are doing fake crowds and stuff like that, or doing like some places are putting cardboard cutouts in. Some places are just blasting crowd noise.
Real life is becoming the video game.
Yeah,
with the copying crowd.
Yeah, the KBO was doing that, the Korean Baseball League, where they would put stuffed animals in sometimes. Apparently, at one point they had sex dolls in, but there was a whole news thing about that because they weren't sex dolls, but they were sex dolls. But then they had links on them that took you to a porn website, a whole thing.
Classic.
Other nights in the KBO, they've had Pokemon, like stuffed Pokemon in the stands behind home plate because that's like the majority shot you see. So they just fill behind home plate with things. I love it. But, you know.
Get creative. Why not?
Yeah. You can't do anything else, so do that. Anyway, though, speaking of games and sports games, EA didn't show shit. So we'll get there eventually.
I'm just fuming already about it. I was so mad. Anyways.
We'll get there.
We're
going to get there because I'm right there with you, Matt. And I have more stake in it than you do. But I'm right there with you.
Do you, though?
At the EA play as a whole, yes. Individually, we each have our own stakes higher than the other one. But we will discuss that in a bit. Stop it. You know what? Fuck it. You want to just do it now? You want to do it live? No, first we got to go through what we normally go through.
New releases, which there are a few.
Believe it or not.
Important ones.
Yeah, there are at least 3 important ones. You get to guess, Matt, when I'm done reading them, what the 3 important ones are.
I got my picks right now.
You can tell me afterwards. Here we go. Number 1, Griftlands for the PC. Number 2, Darius Cosmic Collection for the PlayStation and Switch. Number 3, Desperados 3 for the PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. Disintegration for the PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. The Elder Scrolls Online goes to Google Stadia. Interesting move.
I don't know how that would work.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you probably have to go into like the Premier part of it to get your subscription paid for the same way you would with other things, but
I was just saying, like, technically.
Like an MMO on there? Or?
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be better than trying to play a first-person shooter with the lag.
True, unless you're like trying to... Well,
PvP
maybe.
would be a problem.
Yeah.
You still might be able to get away with... There's a... Speaking of lag and MMOs, and I'll continue reading this list in a second, there's a healer in our WoW Classic guild that was healing from Australia. So he has at least 200 ping, and he was the best of everybody by a long shot. He was unbelievably good, but still had
that's
crazy
kind of
ping.
the funny part. We're going to talk about this for way too long, but I feel like when you're healing and you have a high ping and you're doing it like that's how you play, I feel like that could almost train you to be better because you're anticipating the damage. You know what I mean?
Sometimes, yeah. If you know what to be ready for. Number 6, Farming Simulator 19 DLC. Number 7, Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC. Number 8, Waking for PC and Xbox. Number 9 is Burnout Paradise Remastered for the Switch. And number 10, The Last of Us 2 makes its way to PlayStation. Matt, what is your guess for the top 3 of those 10?
Last of Us 2,
Okay.
Pokemon Sword and Shield,
And?
Farming Simulator 19.
Good man. I don't say I'm predictable on this show, but it ain't hard to guess. Odds or evens, Matt?
I don't care. I
was trying to eliminate my choosing of one every single time.
Well,
I'll tell you what. I'll take evens.
Going for the long one. You just want to bitch about EA.
Oh, we're going to definitely both bitch about EA. It's mostly because I shouldn't read Pokemon.
All right. First up, CD Projekt Red has delayed Cyberpunk 2077 again, pushing it from September 17th to November 19th. According to the developer, the game is, quote, finished as far as content and gameplay is concerned, but they need more time for balancing and bug fixes.
Okay. It's just The Witcher again.
I don't know when this game's coming out. Like, I haven't known since, like, the second delay, because once the second delay happened, I was just like, I don't know. Whatever release date you're going to tell me, it's not going to matter.
Right.
I didn't realize it was coming out in September.
Yeah.
November, I'll probably remember, because that's like November. Everything's going to come out in November.
Yeah. It's funny because it goes back to playing into my when is the new WoW expansion going to release argument that I had. I've mentioned this a couple shows ago, where I was like, all right, you don't release in September because even though you're not the same crowd necessarily as Cyberpunk, you don't want to deal with Cyberpunk. So you give everybody a month to play Cyberpunk and then you release. Because also your entire like dev staff that's going to need to keep the servers running is going to try to play Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
And then I had people that are like, oh, they'll do it in November, like BlizzCon and blah, blah. BlizzCon ain't fucking happening. So guess what? That argument's out. And also, they just moved this to November. So my October time slot still stands.
I really
I'm feeling
appreciate
even better about it.
Like, we like to read into when games are coming out, like, based on relative to each other.
Yeah.
CD Projekt Red's like, we don't give a fuck.
They don't.
November 17th, sure, right smack dab in the middle. We don't give a fuck about you guys. You're not a problem for us.
The week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So the week prior to Black Friday. Or potentially 2 weeks. I'm not looking exactly at when the 17th falls. It might be a Friday, it might be a Tuesday. So a week or 2 weeks before Black Friday.
How confident are you
on
this release date? Or do you think it might get pushed into
spring?
February or spring?
I'm feeling pretty good on this one. If they're saying that they're only fixing bugs and blah blah blah, I'm feeling pretty good on only a 2-month delay. Because I feel like that if they were feeling worse, they would have pushed it out of September into next year already.
Yeah.
Or had said we're gonna push to. I could see a 1 month more, maybe December. Maybe they punk them with a December 12th release type of thing. Like something weird there, but I'm feeling. I was also feeling good about September, so take my word with a grain of salt.
Maybe feeding into that your opinion there. Before we hit record, I did see a news article. I don't know if this is valid. I did not have time to look into it, but someone posted something saying that reviews for Cyberpunk would be released after their next event that they're doing, their Nightwire
City, which is this
event.
week.
Yeah.
And reviews would be published 6 months in advance?
Yeah, I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. Grain of salt on that one.
That doesn't make sense. And also,
it doesn't.
I wouldn't read into those reviews at all.
The titles are too ambiguous. That is an ambiguous title too, because they're saying after, like it could be.
Yeah. Oh, they'll be released
3
after.
months after.
Yeah.
4 months
tell
after.
You, good
5
news.
months after.
You know what'll be after? It'll probably be after this podcast. Whenever that is.
A lot will be after this podcast.
Technically, a lot will. The next podcast, believe it or not, Matt, after this one.
I don't believe that.
Who'd have thought? Well, depending on how this keeps going, if we keep posting late, you never know. So yeah,
all
Cyberpunk.
Right.
Shall we start into number 2?
Yeah.
Got the big one out of the. We got that big one early.
I mean, we could move it back.
We're fine. We're fine because we're gonna be here for a while. Number 2, EA Play 2020 has happened. Happened Thursday night, about 7 p.m. Eastern.
It happened like a hot dump.
All right, so first impressions before I even get through news stories. If this was their E3 presentation, they would have been laughed out of the room.
Yeah.
Comparatively to everybody else. This was a but when you put it in the context of everything that's happening and whatever, their pivot isn't terrible. As in, we had to shut down potentially unexpectedly for what we were expecting and blah blah blah. That being said, it's not bad as like a baseline. As in, I would take this and show it to Xbox and go, here's your baseline. This, you can't be worse than this. With Sony being like the top of the tree that I'm trying to paint a picture of so far.
This is, in my mind, this is worse
than the first Xbox.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I agree. Even though, well, I somewhat agree. The first Xbox is terrible. This is better with
production quality wise.
Production quality wise, yes, 100%.
It's definitely better.
It's 100% better. Game wise, they might be on the same page.
It's just still worse to me. Still worse.
I think the games that they could show and did show visually looked better, and they also never mentioned the word gameplay, which was, going back into the Xbox thing, a problem. Here's some gameplay. It's a cutscene. What? That's not gameplay. Also, Microsoft showed Valhalla after we'd already seen 2 days of Valhalla.
So objectively, maybe they're comparable. So objectively,
this one hurts me worse than the Microsoft one did.
Subjectively, I fucking hated this event.
I was honestly mad watching it. I kept waiting to hear why I'm watching, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Like
everything that was getting announced, I was just like, I either knew it or it was just like, yes, obviously.
Yeah.
Nothing meant.
There's no surprise.
Nothing I saw made me go, I'm so happy I saw this now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you
or
could
live or any like.
I don't know. Let's just fucking keep going because we're gonna start talking over ourselves. And
so here we go. Starting off the event, Respawn announced that Apex Legends would be coming to both Steam and the Nintendo Switch. The studio also says that it's going to support crossplay across all platforms. Which, hey, if you're a Switch player and want to play against a PC player, give yourself up right now. Log into the game and then quit out of the match immediately because you are not going to hold the candle. But hey, you get to play.
Not related to that, but somewhat related to that concept. Is it? You probably have a better idea of this than I would, just because I don't kind of travel in those realms.
All right.
So I have friends who are console players, and they opt out of crossplay because
they're not as good as PC players.
See, that's the argument. So, like, in my mind, I'm like, all right, clearly, a good PC player is going to be better than a good console player.
Yeah, it's only when you get to the echelons of pro tiers that those start to slowly get closer and closer.
The reasoning I've always heard is like, oh, it's easier to hack on PC. And I'm like, I don't know if that's really... I don't know if that's the case. Like, I can see that argument.
I mean, technically, yes. That statement as a whole is true.
My question
also have
is
aim assist on console.
My question is hacking rampant enough on PC in relation to crossplay that is a justifiable reason? Okay.
I think no. I think it depends on the game.
Yeah.
I think that part is subject to which game environment we're talking about. But I believe that when it comes to the argument that it's easier to cheat on PC, they don't want to admit they're bad. which is usually.
I don't even think it's a bad thing. I
No,
think
no,
that
but I think it's
the average PC player is going to perform better against the average console player.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that same statement. It's just that it goes back to the old Call of Duty mindset. I didn't die. You ever see the pie chart where it's 99% of it is bullshit, and it's titled "What did I die to?" 99% of it is filled in. It says bullshit, and 1% says he was better than me.
Yeah,
because no one ever admits that they are being beaten by a better person. It's always, oh, that's bullshit. He's cheating. He's hacking. Blah blah blah. Oh, he's on PC. Clearly a hacker. Like,
is that how you play multiplayer?
That's how some people play it. I don't play it that way.
Because I quit because I'm like, fuck, I suck.
I play like the biggest game that I've experienced cheating in is in Battlefield, and usually like around launch. But you can see it happening, so I just know. Like,
yeah,
there was a guy on top of one of the maps. I don't remember what it's the map with a big cornfield, and we were playing Conquest, and he's on top of the church with an LMG, just spinning, nonstop spinning, and killing everybody with a headshot. And it's like, okay, well, you're cheating. And sometimes, at least like that, it's just entertaining to look at because you're like, what?
It's comical.
What? But then I'm not going to stay there more than 5 minutes. I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
But yeah, for Apex, I don't think it's that big of a problem. I just think, once again, going to your point, the skill gaps, the sliding scale of skill gaps are different. Like an average PC player versus an average console player, they're not on the same. Those averages are not at the same spot on the scale.
I mean, it's just PC is. Yeah, we don't have to go through it. Everyone knows. Yeah. PC is just more precise.
What I think is really interesting, I think it's good that they're bringing it to Switch.
Yeah.
Cool. That makes sense. It's good that it's crossplay. Crossplay should be supported for everything. So it was a good faith announcement of everything. What's funny is the Steam announcement. We're bringing it to Steam. Unless I'm crazy, Matt, maybe a few months ago, didn't we discuss a story in which EA made a deal with Steam, which therefore would mean their games are coming to Steam? Did we not discuss that usually around Fallen Order?
Yeah. No, we went through all this, which is, we're getting to the heart of the problem here. We got no fucking announcements. Let me just get it out of the way real quick.
Okay, so before he gets it completely out of the way, this Steam thing is rampant through the whole thing we're going to mention. And as we're watching this, I went, we've known all of this. This isn't a fucking announcement. But
which is why I grouped them all into one statement. A Way Out, Dead Space 3, The Sims 4, and Titanfall 2 are all coming to Steam.
And EA Access is going to be on Steam as well. And all of this just goes back to where I think we need to... I mean, we can do whatever we want because that's how this podcast works. But when you and I are watching these things, I sometimes need to take myself away from it where average Joe...
Yeah.
That's just like, oh, cool. EA's doing their thing. They make the Madden I like. I'm just going to watch that. Also, average Joe's not playing on PC. But regardless, they didn't know the stuff from November or whenever that story was that we discussed. So it makes sense to remind them and tell them all about this. It's just at the same time for the people that are already there, like, we already know this isn't. You're not doing a conference of announcements. You're doing a conference of reaffirmations.
Yeah.
Which is boring. Like, if the Xbox event in July is their first event with, one other trailer, you're like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. What is this?
Which is the overarching... It's kind of... This is, in my mind, what irritated me most about this conference, or whatever we're calling this, a digital event, whatever, is that it is quintessential EA. Like, this is nothing new for them. They do this stuff every year, but I just, for some reason, and this is my fault, thought that this year would be different because of, like, everything that's going on, and we haven't gotten any news from them and all this other stuff. And, like, there's a bunch of hotly anticipated games for me that EA holds. And I was like, they'll show me something.
There are a lot of properties that they have that we have interest in that they have the rights to that you're like,
God, it's been years.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There's only giant rumors of a Mass Effect remaster going around.
Yep.
And you don't even mention that. So going back, the one guaranteed bright spot that I know isn't in the doc, but I can mention it. One guaranteed bright spot about this entire event and last year's event. Greg Miller's a good host. I think he hosted it well.
He is a fantastic host.
For these types of events and some other events that I know he's done, like we've talked about him doing the DICE Awards and stuff like that.
Do you think he writes his own? He has to, because it's
I think he has a genuine impact on what is written either for him. Because I know
his tone is so similar across all of his.
I know for
events.
some of the award shows, he's written with friends of his that are writers, and they've kind of like bounced it all around to get it all correct. But I think he actually has the pull or weight in the room, like when somebody's writing something and they say like this, and he's like, "That's not going to work. Like that doesn't make sense for me to say that, or it doesn't flow with like I'll punch it up and we'll do this, or like I'll say this type of thing." Which goes into exactly what I'm going to say. Next thing. Hazelights, Joseph Fares, the man who famously yells, "Fuck the Oscars," at the Game Awards 3 years ago, is making another cooperative, story-focused game. It Takes Two is about a child who deals with their parents' divorce by creating two dolls, which both come to life.
So this segment and then the next game we saw are the only two things where I'm like, that's interesting. Like,
watching this was interesting because Joseph Fares is a charismatic person.
He is.
You want to watch what he's going to say because you never know what he's going to say.
And that little like...
and A Way Out was a fun game. I don't know if you played it, but it was a fun game.
That little spotlight they did on him in the video, and like they rolled in like some photos and like some of like they kind of did like a reenactment or like of a movie, or they were showing like a movie he did.
Yeah, one of the movies he made that was kind of based on his life of moving to, I believe it was Sweden. And
yeah, that whole like spotlight was pretty interesting, and it's like EA does that stuff in their press conferences, like where they'll show like a dev team or something like that.
Yeah, like a creative angle type of thing.
And I feel like this is the first time that I can recall that they took that idea and got it right.
Yeah, because when they showed it, I specifically remember the one they showed for Battlefront.
Yeah.
And they were showing like the DICE studios.
Yeah,
and
like we went out and did these things and went to these places, and we're like, we don't give a fuck.
Like, what are you showing? You didn't go to Hoth. There were just like a lot of weird things. But then they get to this one and they're describing him and his story and what he's done. And the game, and I was like, okay, that entire segment makes sense. And the entire thing runs well. I appreciated that they played, and this is where I think Greg potentially had a pull, maybe he didn't. They actually played the Game Awards thing where he said fuck the Oscars, and they didn't bleep it. They let him just run the entire clip again. And then it cuts back to Greg, and Greg goes, yeah, just keep on doing you, and fuck the Oscars. And I was just like, holy shit. You actually got to the moment where you slowly were personable?
Yeah, I know, right? That was the weird, like...
Like, I hate you, evil corporation. Why you make me like you momentarily?
That was the little, like, ray of sunshine that came through the clouds.
Yeah. And it was just good. It was a good segment moment.
For sure. Following that, we got Zoink Games, the creators of Fae, are making Lost in Random, a game that takes place in the world of random, a, quote, dark kingdom where every citizen's future is determined by a roll of dice. In 2021, follow the tale of Even and her sidekick Dicey to play the odds and break the curse.
That dice actually looked creepy to me.
It did. It was very Tim Burton.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
But in a good way.
Yeah. I'm not a huge Tim Burton fan, but...
Yeah, I'm not either.
I think it's a specific taste.
It was Tim Burton in a good way. When I say that, I mean like Nightmare Before Christmas, which is peak like good Tim Burton for me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it looks neat. It was a nice little refreshing game with a weird kind of concept.
Yeah. And then we get to the next one, called Rocket Arena, a competitive third-person 3v3 hero shooter that is all about using rockets to blow up the competition, and will be released on July 14th. 14, Matt. Did you see this like I did and go, I get the concept, but why is EA doing it? It didn't excite me. It didn't seem like enough. It seemed late for what it was trying to do.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like an EA title. It seems like a THQ Nordic title. That's not an insult, but do you get what I mean?
I will be genuinely surprised if this is successful.
Oh, agreed. I don't think it's dead on arrival, but then again, with what they're aiming for, what do they determine successful? They might have a low bar for success on this game.
I mean, they would have to. It just seems like a weird... I don't know. It just seems weird.
I haven't seen anybody talking about it since this happened.
No, like it kind of like... I didn't even remember
other
seeing
stuff
it.
mentioned, but I haven't seen anybody mention this since.
I watched it. I know I watched it.
Yeah, unlike last time, I remember watching it.
I went back through and I was compiling the list of stuff, and I was like, cross-checking with a bunch of different publications, and I was like, I know I watched this, but like,
why do I not remember it?
Why do I like it? Just I don't know. I just don't know. Like I just don't. I saw this and I was like, okay, I guess.
It's a thing. If you know what it falls into, Roller Champions.
Yeah, Roller Champions.
It's EA's Roller Champions, where I'm like,
what the fuck was that game that just came out that like totally flopped? The Amazon one.
Oh, the PvP one.
Yeah, that just kind of like dud.
Crucible?
Maybe. Sounds good.
That's how much we remember.
I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to say about Arena?
No, it seems like it's gonna be
Rocket Arena.
It seems like the roller champions thing to me is just the equivalent of it's their small studio PvP game that maybe that's their indie for this year, because I don't think the Zoink thing comes out this year unless it comes out in fall, and I don't think Hazelight's game is coming out this year either. Yeah. So maybe that's their indie for this year. Like they normally, A Way Out was their year. Faye was one. They have their indie focus. So maybe that is this one for this year.
I mean, if that's the case, they should have focused on that angle more than just being like, this is a game. That's what it seemed like.
It very much seemed almost like they went to their studios and went, all right, we're doing this. Does anybody have anything? And they're like, we can put something together.
The game is so generic; it has no personality.
100%. It's just like everything's a rocket, and I'm like, but what else? And then there was just nothing.
Yeah. All right. EA Motive revealed gameplay of its upcoming game Star Wars Squadrons, a game that takes place after Star Wars: The Return of the Jedi. The campaign will have players assuming the role of both a New Republic pilot and an Imperial fighter pilot as part of the Vanguard and Titan squadrons, respectively. Multiplayer will include modes like Dogfight and All-Out 5v5 Battle, and the signature mode, Fleet Battles. Fleet Battles feature multiple phases and begins in a social hub that allows for strategic planning. Then players will enter a battle that begins with a dogfight in the middle of the map. It then transitions to one of the teams attacking the enemy's medium-sized capital ship before finally taking the battle to the enemy's flagships. Star Wars Squadrons will be released on PS4, Xbox One, and PC on October 2nd, and will feature full crossplay and VR support for PS4 and PC. There are no microtransactions, and it will cost $40.
Go ahead.
You can go ahead.
All right. Good price point. Good crossplay across everything. Cool that also includes crossplay to VR. It might hit the list of like things you need to play in VR.
Yeah.
It might hit that list.
It might.
No microtransactions, EA, huh? Whoo, boy, are you gonna potentially eat those words if you do not stick to them. You will once again be lambasted for not doing that. But maybe they've turned a new leaf. Like, I don't know about that. I don't mind the battle idea. The battle idea makes sense. You've kind of done it a little bit with that they've already done in Battlefront 2, where you're down doing one thing, you go up to a ship, and you have to like progress. I think it's like 3 missions on either side to actually win the battle, and some of the battles can take really long. The idea of getting into the social hub to create strategic things speaks immediately to me of somebody that doesn't understand how gamer language happens.
Let's do this thing. Fuck off, buddy.
It falls into the... It would work if you had a group of friends. Kind of. But it also falls into the conversations that you always hear. The Anthem conversation. The Division conversations. The Ghost Recon conversation. All the conversations where you have these E3 comms that no one talks like that. Oh, yeah, I just got this sweet thing over here, and all right, so it looks like they're going to come out with, I expect 2 TIE fighters and maybe a TIE interceptor, so I'm going to purposely run a U-Wing and try to do this. And it's like, no. You're going to have the guy that's like, I'm close to ranking up my A-Wing, so deal with it. Plug. And it's like, sweet tactical battle. I appreciate what they mean. It just never happens.
Yeah, I'm for it being a Star Wars game and everything that it is, I am very reserved on it. Like, I'm not going to rush out and buy it. I will wait and see, and
I'm not going to touch it at all, probably, because I don't give a shit about flying games. I can't fly.
The only that's the thing, is like, I would buy it maybe for the VR experience if it warrants, you know, the effort.
Yeah. The VR experience, I think, might be the coolest part, especially if I have a joystick and flying around and stuff like that.
The most interesting part for me is the price and the no transactions and watching how that plays out.
Oh, 100%. That is 100. I want to see how we're doing December 23rd.
Yeah.
And then recatch again at January 17th. Let me know those 2 windows. Launch to December 23rd. Launch to January 17th.
I want to see EA's fiscal report following and just see if it gets mentioned or anything like that. That would be the thing.
Yeah. But it'll be... There's no microtransactions because all we have are surprise mechanics. Like, not how that works.
No microtransaction. Guess what? Got loot boxes.
Haha, bitch. But it's it falls into the same thing of what we were talking about. Nothing excites me. We got more details, but you blew your squadron load days earlier.
Yeah, I think they announced most of that too, didn't they? Prior to
for the most part, not some of the specific details and stuff, but it's like that should have been. You should have never done the first event.
Yeah, I wonder
even if it leaked like it did,
just
let nobody talk about it for 4 days.
Yeah,
and let everybody just build their own anticipation, then set everything straight. Don't come out with your own thing and then do it again. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, whack.
The next thing we got was EA's standard sports montage that showed FIFA 21 and Madden 21. It did show Lamar Jackson, who I believe is the cover athlete for Madden 21, so congrats to him. And then it showed nothing else. It's just like, hey, you guys like sports games? What if we just kind of threw them all together?
So I actually was like I was telling you earlier, I had this playing in the background and was playing a game, and then I was tabbing back and forth when something popped up that sounded interesting that I didn't already know about. And I actually tabbed over because I was confused by the just like, you know, sports montage. Like, you know, they started off with whoever that guy is.
Lamar Jackson. Quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens.
And then did a quick little montage, and then like that was it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Wait. I had to go back and make sure like I didn't miss something.
The trailer they were playing, like the cuts they were playing from FIFA, were almost like the cuts from last year's FIFA because they were featuring Eden Hazard, who was on the cover and stuff last year. And I'm like, did you just do that? And normally, we talked about this a little bit before too. I was actually somewhat looking forward to the EA Sports segment of this because normally when you get going I mean, maybe this is going to be their next year thing. Maybe they're waiting until the consoles are officially out and they're not going to, but they're still going to do a double release. So that's why I don't understand why they're waiting. But when I say double release, I mean current and past gen. When they're going towards a new gen and once again, they're using Frostbite instead of just switching to Unreal 5. I know we're not going to get Unreal 5 games this year. Relax. But they're using the Frostbite engine or Frostbite 2 or 3, whatever we're on now, which is fine. But when we're going to new hardware, they usually have tech demos inside of Madden or FIFA. Now, I don't know if we have it in here, but they end the show kind of by saying, like, we'll have more throughout the summer to show you. So in that statement, I feel like this is supposed to be your appetizer, and then they're like, okay, everybody gets the same appetizer. Y'all got breadsticks at the table. It's a family thing. Okay, now what do you want to order? Do you want to see more Madden? Okay, we're going to have a deep dive into the Madden thing. Do you want to see more FIFA? We're going to have a deep dive into the FIFA thing. Because even if last year's EA Play, they had devs on stage, they brought out Juju Smith-Schuster, they had actual breakdowns and like what they were doing with the player profiles and what that meant sometimes in Ultimate Team or career mode and stuff like that. They actually did a deep dive breakdown. So I'm wondering if they're waiting for a Madden event. Like in July, with Madden releasing in August, in July, like a month beforehand, they go, here's your deep look at Madden. Be ready.
That makes a lot of sense.
But it's EA.
I want to believe that that's the case, so I'm going to subscribe to that theory.
You know what, Matt? My theory is free 99.
Okay.
Because I'm EA.
Okay.
I am Andrew Wilson, CEO. I will eventually leave and become Peter Moore and go own Liverpool, but until then.
All right, there you go. Heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, except I don't Man U. Peter Moore and I got problems. We're rivals. But no, that's what I think is going to happen probably, is that because if you do the premiere or the EA Access premiere or whatever, you get the game, I believe it's a week early if you're subscribed with that tier. So I'm hoping for a July breakdown on Madden, and then 2 weeks or like a week post Madden launch, when they're roughly in the month window of FIFA, they go, and here's our FIFA breakdown. And then they start showing off the tech and stuff like that for FIFA. Because whenever they've gone to a new console, they've at least tried to show something off instead of just these weird sizzle reels that aren't anything. I was just like,
I just don't know anymore.
Once again, this goes back to if Matt and I ever do a press conference, we might walk out when we watch the whole show and go, what did we just tell anybody?
I just don't know. I mean, like, whatever.
Put us on post press conference panels. It would be livid.
No one would do them with us because they'd just be
like... Oh, no, they would all hate us. Everybody would hate us.
Yeah, they'd just be like, nah.
You'd have people like, oh, man, that game looks so cool. And I'd be like, what did you see? I would absolutely love if the world returns to normal and you and I go to E3 as media or, right? As just humans and happen to get onto like a conversation with any of a slightly decent sized outlet. I'm saying as small as like 500 listeners to 1 million listeners, anywhere on that spectrum. Just so when we can do the immediate reacts after press conferences and people are like, holy shit, did you see that? And I go, see what? Just
I'd be
watch
like,
their face get into stunned silence.
So what was the point in this?
Yeah, be like, did anybody see anything in that press conference? They're like, your job is to like hype this up and everything. I'm like, bad news. My job is to be real. What did you see?
Yeah.
Anyway, it gets better. Don't worry. It gets better.
Once again, in classic EA fashion, they showed the shortest teasers possible of a few games while talking nonsense. We saw glimpses of
EA talking nonsense.
We saw glimpses of Dragon Age, Battlefield, Need for Speed, and an EA Motive Next Gen project that we don't know what it is, obviously.
So, do you want me to go through this one, or do you want to start?
You can go ahead because, like, I literally looked at it and I was like, I saw nothing. I saw a bunch of like concept art. It could be concept art, could be like.
So we saw glimpses of Battlefield. Let's start there.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
We saw glimpses of Battlefield.
Saw an eyeball. I saw faces.
Yeah.
Like raccoon face.
Like, okay, Battlefield. What Battlefield? What game? You're not doing a Battlefield
When's
this year.
When's that coming out?
So
what's
is that
the
next
setting?
year? What year am I in? But why? Other than just being like Battlefield exists and we're all like, we know, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Like cool face tech.
Yep.
All right. How many times you want to know when I see somebody's face? It's through my scope from 400 meters away, and I don't see their face. I only see the little hat and the arrow above their head as they went running by because somebody spotted them. It's like one of those, not as bad as LA Noire, but like they have a lot of sweet tech and can make things look really cool. And their big battles in Battlefield look really cool, but those small details like that, never see them.
Waste of time.
Did you fix that on your, by the way? Because it says
no.
Okay.
No.
In case anybody's curious, he wrote Drage Age, but we'll move on.
That's what anger typing.
Just need more ease. Need for Speed. We saw more of that, but more heat.
I don't know.
That's what I mean. Like, okay, cool. There's a racing game.
That could have been the last Need for Speed. I don't know.
Oh, that rings true through a lot of this conference. And the EA Motive Next Gen project. What? The next Battlefront? The next Star Wars game that isn't the one that they're currently making? Did you give them Anthem? Did you give them the remaster? Did you give them back the remnants of the Star Wars games you canned? What are you doing? And then let's go to the big problem. They said BioWare. They specifically flashed BioWare. They did. To say the name, and everybody went, there are 3 games that we want to see. The Mass Effect Remastered that has been rumored for leading up to this was rumored for 4 weeks and it was picking up traction constantly. Like, oh, Mass Effect Remastered would have been a pretty big announcement for them. Would have at that point in the conference would have made things nice.
Yes,
it would have given you another reason to watch. Not for me, I don't give a shit, but there was enough traction to people wanting it that I think it would have been a bigger, like, damn, oh yeah, it is confirmed, it's happening, yay. Then Anthem. Not that anybody's really wanting it, but that was their last project. And we don't even mention that. That is the bastard child that is just pushed to the side until it is grown up and ready to come into society. It's just like, no, you stay underneath those stairs, Harry Potter. Then, except it's not as gifted as Harry, but whatever. Weird analogy. Don't look too far into it. Child under stairs. Stay there. The one we do see, allegedly, is Dragon Age, which we knew Dragon Age.
I appreciate 4? The allegedly.
Yeah.
Because
this is supposed to be 4, right?
Yes, 4.
So Dragon Age 4 was confirmed last year, I believe, to have been existing and being worked on.
Mm-hmm.
And all they show is BioWare, then 2 stills, and everybody goes, the new Dragon Age has been shown. And I'm like, what did you see?
That literally could be any game. Any game.
You saw...
Literally any game.
You saw a red forest, and you saw a tree with some people off to the side. And people were like, Dragon Age! And I just went, really? Because I watched it, and after I eliminated the other things I've already said, eliminating the Mass Effect and whatever, I was like, okay, BioWare, that's the Dragon Age one. But what is that? That shows nothing.
Another thing that they didn't mention, the Old Republic.
Yeah, they mentioned nothing on the Old Republic, which I didn't really expect them to at this point.
I thought they'd make some cursory mention of it.
It had gotten popularity in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
So you would have thought that at least a poke or something would have been there.
They're still doing pretty sizable content updates.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's once again, it came out and I was like, okay, that must have been Dragon Age. But allegedly Dragon Age, because you don't see anything.
Yeah, you don't see any characters.
That could be a new IP.
You don't see any like noticeable characters. You don't see any noticeable settings where you can identify. You don't see any wording.
You don't see a dragon.
You don't even see a fucking dragon. It's called Dragon Age. You don't see a fucking dragon. You see some foliage. You see some red foliage.
Dragon Age.
And that's it. But that's
Guess
Dragon
what else
Age.
had red foliage? Horizon.
Oh, that's the theme. This
was the theme.
Coming.
The theme for the summer of gaming is red foliage.
Yeah, like red infected and
red infecting foliage.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so there it was. That was the sweet.
Classic.
Yeah, I
don't even have anything else to say on that.
I think what annoyed me the most was seeing everybody's like all the article headlines that are like new Dragon Age was shown, and I was just like,
yeah, that genuinely confused me because I went looking thinking I missed something.
Yeah, I almost want to take a picture of. I'm currently drinking a Mountain Dew Voltage. I want to take a picture of the bottom of the bottle, so just all you see is the little blue,
Dragon Age,
and just go, holy shit, Dragon Age has blue water in it, confirmed. And just let Twitter run wild because that's all you saw. That's like looking at... screw it. I'm done. That's like looking at the EA Sports montage and seeing a soccer ball and a football and going, I bet that's NHL. That's as good as you got.
Oh, yay.
Also, no NHL mention, which was weird.
Yeah.
Not that they ever really do much promotion around that, but they own the license.
There's a lot missing from this.
No, and going back to no discussion on what else that meant for Madden. Oh my god, I completely forgot about that because we discussed that Madden relicensing 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
they're like more arcade, potentially an arcade thing, or blah blah blah, or the mobile thing.
Yeah.
I speculated on everything, and I was like, that should all be there. And then they do this, and I went, or it's not, or they go back to the thing you have now subscribed to from me, where we do get that event in July where they go, here's Madden. It is.
Then what's the point?
July 14th is Madden Day or something like that.
What's the point?
Yeah.
In having an EA Play event,
you got to give everybody breadsticks, and then they order the main course. When you're here, you're family. EA Sports.
EA announced that 7 games will be released on Nintendo Switch this year. EA has only discussed Burnout Paradise and Apex Legends so far. So, according to EA, there should be 5 more games.
FIFA's one of them, so I don't know if they count that.
All right, so let's do the math here. Apex Legends.
Yep.
Burnout Paradise.
I want to be clear, our math is counting to 5.
Yes.
Right? 5?
7.
Sorry, 7.
Counting 7.
Oh, well, I guess we are counting to 5. We just counted 2, so 5 more.
Madden? Do you think?
Maybe. It hasn't been on the Switch before.
All right, so FIFA.
FIFA has been on the Switch before, and FIFA 21 will be on the Switch, and it's the legacy version. I don't remember if you remember that controversy. I don't remember if you remember. That's a sentence. The controversy from years prior when they put Madden on, or when they put FIFA on, it's a dumbed down version, and they stripped features out of it and stuff like that. But yes, it will be there. So there's 3.
Are we going to assume that it's probably pretty safe to assume that the 2 new titles that they announced, the Dice game,
the one from Zoink and the one from Hazelight,
yeah, they seem like they could be Switch titles.
I could definitely see them. So we'll go to 5.
So
you want to know my guesses on the other 2?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Older games,
like remasters.
2 out of the other 5 that we already mentioned that went to Steam.
A Way Out.
A Way Out would definitely make sense. I'm now scrolling back.
The Sims 4.
Ooh, Sims 4. Sims 4 is a good guess. I like that. Sims 4, yeah, Titanfall 2 is not, and Dead Space 3 isn't. So Sims 4 and A Way Out are our other guesses. You're welcome. You heard it here first. Forced. Yeah, you pocket got it. Wait, Forced isn't Boston. What am I doing? I almost turned into New York, too, because I was about to do it. I'm walking here. Anyway, let's move on. Get me off my accents. I can only do Joker. It's not even an accent. And as a one more thing, EA developers announced that a new Skate game is really early in development.
I have no allegiance to skate or skating games, so I was very underwhelmed by that whole
So
situation.
I was watching it live. And it happened, and I went, I don't believe you. Because it had been the thing, I've said it on this podcast for years. I've said it to other friends that are like, what's a game, you wanted to have? I'm like, give me more Skate, or at least remaster the skates for me to play currently.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what people aren't paying attention to.
Okay.
They never say Skate 4. All they say is Skate is back.
Yeah.
And
early development.
And an
early development.
They don't mention the idea that it's Skate 4. It could be remasters. It could be a fucking mobile game.
You want to know my take?
Ooh, no, I might not.
They don't know what it is yet.
They called the guys right before the thing, and they're like, "We want to put you in a video. Skate's back. That's all you got to say. We're going to say you're early in development because we told you about this a week beforehand, but just
go with it.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out later.
Yeah, that is definitely
an EA thing,
an EA possibility. EA, we don't know what we're doing. It's in the game. The thing that scares me, and I want Skate 4, and I don't want them to miss, because there are three things that scare me. Skate 4 is real, and they miss. Which becomes like
nail and coffin.
It becomes the last Tony Hawk, not the remaster that's coming out, the one beforehand. That was terrible, and everybody just hates it, and they kill Skate. They officially would murder Skate if they botched 4.
They literally revived it
just to kill it again.
Just to kill it.
The second thing that worries me, it's a mobile game. Because that would... It's how do you miss the mark so bad? It's not even EA missing the mark. It's the devs should be fighting against that the entire way too. If it was even pitched to them, they're like, all right, we want you to make a mobile game. They're like, oh, fucking no. Skate is not a mobile game.
The way I see it is you have a 25% chance that it's Skate 4. You have a 25% chance that it's a mobile game. All you have a 25% chance that it's a remaster. And you have a 25% chance that's a Battle Royale.
That's a Battle Royale. Here's the kick with the remaster. I actually don't hate that, but it is option number 3 on my list of 3 things. Skate 4, mobile game, remaster.
Yeah.
And
I think a remaster
I think is a good faith move building towards Skate 4.
Yeah.
Like, here's the remaster coming out spring next year, Skate 4 the year after or something, just to...
I agree. I think remaster is a fair move.
Yeah.
But I would not have led this way if it was a remaster, because
I would have led it with just this straight up, it's a remaster.
People
and then see how that goes in the interest of going towards Skate 4.
People who are less cynical than us are going to assume that this is 4.
People already have been. Articles are getting published that says Skate 4. And I'm like, you had to have talked to somebody, because none of the press statements or quotes say Skate 4. All it is Skate is back. And we all hope it's 4.
Oh, yeah.
Can we get off EA?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, we'll try to pick up the pace, because
I don't want to be here anymore.
It's been 50 minutes.
Hey, when EA shows up in a podcast, we have a lot to complain about.
The Pokemon Company made a few announcements this week as well.
Speaking of shit to complain about, where's Dewey?
I know, right? First up, we have Pokemon Snap. It's making a comeback. The classic N64 game where players simply captured photos of pocket monsters.
Oh, don't say simply like it's so trivial, Matt. You had to get good photos, all right? You had to press A at the right time.
It's on the way to Switch. No release date yet.
Hell yeah. You gonna play it? You don't have a Switch. Boom,
I don't.
suck it. I'm gonna play Pokemon
I don't
Snap.
think we don't know really anything about this either, do we? Is it a remaster? Is it a
Snap,
new game?
I think it's supposed to be a new game.
I'm assuming it's new.
I assume it's going to be done in the style of Let's Go, like
Okay.
visually,
Mhm.
on which is what Sword and Shield. This goes back to my Sword and Shield argument. Sword and Shield's graphics are terrible, and Let's Go's are actually nice because they're stylized and look pretty and soft edges. Sword and Shield is like a Game Boy pullover, and it's a fun game. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it, but like visually, when you look at the two of them side by side, you're like, oh no, what'd you do? You went backwards. And for Snap, when a game where you're supposed to take pictures of the Pokemon, I don't think you can have it look bad.
Yeah.
That seems like a giant no. Also, we're supposed to get more Pokemon this week. Or more Nintendo this week or something.
Okay.
So, in 5 days, depending on when you listen to this, you'll hear us again. And I say 5 days. 5, 7, 10, you never know. Depends on when Matt texts me on Friday. Oh, reality.
Pokemon Smile was announced and released. The app features AR effects that let players wear Pokemon hats while they brush their own teeth alongside the game. If you manage to brush away all the bacteria, players are rewarded by getting to catch the Pokemon at the end. Pokemon Smile is available now for free on iOS and Android devices. I don't know what to say about this one.
I know what to say about it, Matt. 1, I'm really fucking hot in this room. 2, that's not to say it about the game. 2, which is actually 1 about the game. This is the kind of shit we like to see during an pseudo E3 summer of gaming events and things. Because here's what we love. A man with a lot of rings on and a cane and a sweet beard who goes, you want to brush your teeth with Pokemon hats? Right now. Boom, there it is. You can do it. Am I going to do this? Hell no. Is it a cool thing for kids and whatever? Yeah, sure. Also have a hand washing one where I can wear like Pokemon gloves and wash my hands and not have coronavirus. Why not?
Nintendo's got like a thing and they do it. You know what I mean?
I take it, I get.
I take it, kids. I make them gay. Okay.
Funhouse references. Nobody's going to get that.
Well, they should.
They should, 100%. If you're not watching Funhouse, stop listening to us.
You're not having fun in the house.
Hey-o.
The Pokemon Company also announced a new puzzle game called Pokemon Cafe Mix. It's described as a free-to-start experience.
I like that. That might be my favorite thing you've ever described, Matt.
Free-to-start. Experience for both mobile and the Nintendo Switch where players can recruit Pokemon to build their own cafe. The twist.
I definitely heard that one.
Is that in order to serve dishes, you first have to complete a puzzle. So you know that little piece
Pikachu in the mystery kitchen.
You know that little piece of flesh that connects your upper lip to like your gums?
Yeah.
Mine's like cut.
Okay.
Really painful. Really difficult to articulate because I have to.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. You also just made the duh, so I mean.
Duh.
This one was just, I'm like, all right, cool little puzzle game for some people. They want it. It's a fun time. Cafe, cool. It's a thing.
It is a thing.
You guys want to do it? You can have a potion shop. You can have a bake shop. Now you can have a Pokemon shop. That goes back to last week's reference where we did 2 episodes and I talked about every shop you could own under the sun. But yeah, I think we're supposed to get more Pokemon this week. So, also the Pokemon DLC was out. So Dewey's theory was we're not going to drop a bunch of big stuff because we're going to drop that big stuff next week, so that way nobody doesn't buy the DLC this week. Was the theory on the ground?
Okay.
Number 4, Fortnite had its season concluding event this week called The Device.
Is it season concluding or season beginning?
Yeah, this is technically like it's one and the same, ends and starts the new one.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, I don't care. I don't play Fortnite anymore. few years ago, if you listen to this podcast, that's all I played for about a month and a half.
I'm sorry.
It was a time. Fortnite servers filled up shortly before 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 30 minutes before the device was scheduled to go off. Players who were able to join got to mess around with a team deathmatch mode where a ton of old weapons and abilities were available as techs. The event itself went fairly smoothly while showing multiple scenes and dialogue that deepened the Fortnite lore. No major changes were confirmed yet, as the entire map was still intact, although now surrounded by water. Undernight Fortnite coming soon. Woo! I think that would be interesting. Now, a while ago, very long time ago, Sark put up a video where him and Hutch were playing. I don't remember the name of the game.
That sweet ass game with the.
They were soldiers. They were toy soldiers.
Oh yeah, that was
game,
a good
the
one
game
too.
wasn't called Toy Soldiers, but they were basically toy soldiers. Well, they were toy soldiers, but the name of the game wasn't toy. You get what I'm saying? I think there was a green and a blue team, and they were playing on those. The maps were large areas because they were so tiny, so it was perspective things. Like you were playing in a sandbox, and there's all these giant sand castles. And there's a one where they're playing at the party, and there's the pool.
Yep.
With all the like blocks and stuff in it, and you're jumping in and doing all that stuff. I 100% could see that happening in a Fortnite-esque type thing. Anti-grav kind of exists, and you're just doing a lot of high jumping and stuff like that. Would be an interesting idea.
Yeah, for sure.
Or at least areas of the map where that could happen. Maybe not the whole map, but
their ability to do these events, like, is really impressive.
If they're starting to get not stolen, but people are adapting them to their own. Destiny did something similar now, where they're like, "Ooh, live public events are kind of a thing." But so far, the king is still Fortnite, and everybody tunes in for it. I would have loved to see what the Twitch numbers were for that. Just people or Twitch numbers mixed with also the concurrent online players at that time.
Yeah, I mean they did say that the servers were literally full, so
yeah, so
that's kind of crazy.
Whatever number that means to the guys that make $500 million a month.
PAX West and PAX Australia have both been canceled.
Oi, mate.
And replaced by the digital event PAX Online.
Dingoes and fires and missiles.
The organizers will hold a 9-day entirely online event from September 12th through September 20th. It will be free and open to the public. That's how the internet works. There will be 3 channels hosting content nonstop each and every day, including panels, concerts, competitions, and esports events. PAX Online plans to offer downloadable demos to replicate the experience of trying games out on the show floor. And if you want to get PAX merchandise, you can buy it online.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty cool pivot from them.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely an interesting thing. I think the demo part of that is already kind of happening with the way Steam is doing a bunch of demos, which I'll get to later when I discuss what I've been playing. So they've now seen it work, and they know what they can do to do that stuff. Merch makes sense. I'm assuming a lot of it is just going to be translating the panels to... Because they already stream almost every room when they have a convention. So you can watch the live feed from those rooms for those days. So I assume it's just going to be that same type of thing. They'll probably have content going from, like, depending on time zone or whatever, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. and then 9 p.m. on might be concerts, or 6 p.m. on might be concerts type of thing. So they'll still give you a full day for 9 days of content. And I'm excited to see how it runs and what it does.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm still hoping that Boston happens next year and I'm going, but we'll, see how it goes. I'm looking forward to it, though. I did do a survey for them. They sent out one to, I think, everybody that's either been to a PAX or bought PAX badges from them or something like that. And there were a lot of, like, what are you interested in from here? If we were to do an entirely online thing, like, rank the 5 things that mean the most to you and stuff like that. So in the survey, it probably took me 15 minutes. Like, it was a long survey of them actually trying to gauge what would you want to see in an online event, or like what makes you want to tune into things and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did see that there's still, if you I don't know why anyone that is listening to us would want to, but you can still sign up for panels to perform a panel for PAX Online as well.
Yeah, so if you want Matt and I to do that, yell at us. And then we'll see if enough people yell at us to do such a disastrous event. Number 6. How fast can we get banned from PAX? Number 6. TwitchCon San Diego has been canceled due to the pandemic. Twitch is leaving open the possibility that it will host some form of TwitchCon this year, saying, quote, while we can't gather in person, we're exploring ways that we could join forces in an alternate dimension later this year, end quote. I believe alternate dimension is also a pseudonym for the internet. Is that how pseudonyms work? I don't think it is.
I don't know anything, so...
Also, I'm wondering, not that we have it in here, do we know anything about San Diego Comic-Con? And if that exists, because that would be August as well.
That had to have been...
That had to have probably been canned a while ago. Also, Gamescom is in Germany in August.
That was canceled.
Or was it?
Yeah, I think Gamescom was
canceled. I think we
canceled.
talked about that a while ago. Also, this is the point where Nate has lost all track of thought because he has been home for way too long. And the idea of time has been lost on himself.
Let me just show you what this does when you start to type it in.
San Diego Comic-Con. Canceled. It just says the word canceled.
Google.
Good. It's also just to the time thing. It's like, we were joking about it watching an earlier show. We're like, oh my God, this was in 2012 and you could say that stuff and get away with it.
Mm-hmm. And
at the same time, I'm like, oh yeah, that was probably in like 2016. Oh no, it's 2009. And I'm sure, obviously, if you're older, it happens on a larger scale. I understand. I'm just saying.
We're experiencing it.
I'm now old enough where I start experiencing this shit. Look at my gray hair. Look at me. I am the gray now. I am the old man now.
Microsoft has confirmed a few details about how its smart delivery system will work for the Xbox Series X. Smart delivery, this might sound redundant because we basically hashed all this out while talking about it.
All right, so good news. This is going to sound redundant because we've already hashed it out while talking about it.
But this is just Microsoft being like, yeah, this is how it's going to work when we've already basically figured it out.
Also, I wonder if they've copywritten smart delivery because people started using it in discussing PlayStation things, and I'm like, I don't think that's how that works.
Yeah, they definitely did. Smart delivery will today, man. Today's the day.
Big mouth. Big mouth.
Smart delivery will not only allow users to buy a game once and play it across both Xbox One and Series X systems, but that progress will also be saved across systems, including game libraries, progression, and achievements. The system works automatically by detecting hardware and software compatibility.
So not only we have just cross-save, that's literally what that's called, in case anybody's curious. It's called cross-save.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome, and we'll move on.
Yeah. Well, you get the fancier version, I guess.
Yeah.
If it's optimized.
More nice little features on smart delivery. Number 8, Insomniac Games has confirmed its upcoming PlayStation 5 launch title, Spider-Man Miles Morales, will be about half the length of the original game. In a blog post, creative director Brian Horton said the game would be roughly the size of 2017's Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Man, is this an echo chamber in here?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
You're supposed to respond with, is this an echo chamber in here? Come on, Matt. Yes,
no,
and.
I mean...
But yeah, we basically said that last week, so...
Yeah,
good that it's confirmed.
Stop being right.
It's not hard to be right when literally Insomniac said in the... Never mind. I don't need to explain myself to you.
Where are we?
The warmer
Horizon
I get, the
Forbidden West won't arrive on the PlayStation 5 until 2021 at the earliest.
Appointment.
According to the game director, Matthias de Jong. In a new video, he also said that the world of Forbidden West is even more detailed than the previous game and also offers a larger map. De Jong also explained that the title refers to a, quote, mysterious new frontier, end quote, that spans the western half of the post-apocalyptic U.S.
So, like, Montana? I just like when he's like, a mysterious new frontier called the West Coast. I'm just like, wait, what?
That's all pretty obvious.
Yeah, the idea that it's more detailed does intrigue me. there's still quite a bit of detail in Original Horizon, so more detailed.
Yeah.
Which you see with the underwater levels and some of the red foliage bad.
It'll be interesting to see how it abuses the
It not
PS5
being there,
storage system.
yeah, and it not being there until 2021 could mean February 2021. That's all I'm saying. But also, I don't think it will. I think it'll be pushed till I think that will be, unless something gets announced. As it stands right now, that's a solid fall 2021 title for them to push going into that with what we know.
Yeah.
Sticking with Sony stories, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, has been rated in Taiwan and in rumors should be announced later today. So hey, new Crash.
Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about it next week or this week. Next time we talk.
Next time, just next time, because you say this week might not be this week. Also depends on when people start their weeks. Some people start on Sunday, some people start on Monday.
True.
Some calendars start on Wednesday.
All right, where do you fall on this? I'm a Sunday to Saturday guy.
You're Sunday, Saturday. I'm usually a Monday to Sunday guy, but that's just how I always go through the weekend. But even though I just end it on Sunday, and then I go back to beginning my week on a Monday.
Yeah,
that's how I treat it. But
Star Citizen has now passed $300 million in crowdfunding.
So many stupid people.
According to the latest data from Cloud Imperium Games. By the way, it has not been officially released yet.
I can't wait. Cannot wait.
300 million
for this game to come out? Eric, I don't know. Come out, giant question mark. If it does come out, I don't think it can live up to people's expectations.
Oh no, I mean you can play it now, but
some of it.
I just
and I think that's even worse because you can play part of it now. What do you also not see people doing?
Buying it,
playing it,
or playing it, or here's the thing though.
You can buy it $20,000 ship and do nothing. $300
million and people already being able to play it. We should have heard by now that this game is spectacular.
Or
for $300 million.
Or something.
But
or something.
All I ever hear is
covered their events when they do the live streams and stuff. And every time we just go, okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Now
and
what?
Everyone's always just yeah, I played it. Is it good? Is it bad? I played it. It's I gave them money, so I don't want to admit that it's lackluster.
I bought the $700 ship, so huh? And it's oh God, no, why? We'll see. It might be the longest running story on this podcast. And might continue.
It might.
It might never be dethroned. And number 12, AT&T is reportedly in talks to sell gaming division Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment in a deal that may be worth around $4 billion. According to CNBC, potential buyers include Take-Two Interactive, Electronic Arts, and Activision Blizzard. Though nothing has yet to be confirmed, Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment owns a slew of studios with some notable franchises, including Middle-earth, Mortal Kombat, Scribblenauts, that's a notable franchise, Batman Arkham, some LEGO games, and the rights to the Harry Potter games, which, funny enough, there are new Harry Potter game rumors on the horizon and new Batman rumors on the horizon, so be interesting.
And new Lego games coming out.
Well, there's always those. So, be interesting to see what happens with all of that.
That is that could be a good buy for someone.
Yeah. I don't want to see it go to Activision Blizzard. I'd prefer to see it go to Take-Two out of the mentioned names.
Yes.
THQ Nordic, also solid fan to go there. I don't know if they have $4 billion to spend, but I like the idea.
I feel like they have a lot of underutilized franchises. They could do more with what they have.
I think they have a lot of underutilized, but also currently dormant. We had our swell, but we haven't seen anything in years.
Yeah.
Of big punching, make a dent in the game industry type things. Everything's just kind of been ooh. There's a rumor of this. There's a rumor of this. There's a rumor of this. But we haven't had Dark Knight show up since 2014, 15.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's just that franchise. The Harry Potter franchise is still going to be the interesting one because it's supposed to be like an actual RPG type thing and whatever.
Well, that's the one. Like, that's one of the ones that's like underutilized. Like,
Yeah.
it's fucking Harry Potter.
We say underutilized. Also, in the current environment around Harry Potter, might be good just to not do anything.
Yeah, but like, regardless of the
JK's shit
the author's ramblings
and stupidity and everything else, how she's a terrible human.
the
Sorry. I don't like her.
like that people would gobble that shit up if you made a decent.
It's the
game.
same thing that goes back to there was supposed to be like a more like the idea that it would be a more RPG game of where you aren't Harry, you are attending Hogwarts and going through your stuff and blah blah blah. Yeah, 100%. People are just like, yes, give me, tap my veins. What? Harry's a professor? Yeah, who cares? Woo! But alas, here we are.
That's it for news, right?
That's it for news.
Oh my god.
The news is over, but it's been 7 days. Actually has been this time since we last recorded, Matt. So what have you been up to?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Playing SnowRunners. That's about it. I got The Last of Us in my sights for this coming week if I can, wrestle that into the schedule. Watching the anime routine.
It's not gonna be one of the ones where like you try to play and the wife's like, you can't play without me.
It already is, so that's kind of the problem. But
Oh.
she works from home now, so I can be like, bring that laptop in here, bitch. Let's do this.
Hey, yo, bitch! Last of Us time. Let's go.
She's gonna. It's the typical rundown. What's gonna happen? She's gonna be really resistant to starting it. Really resistant to starting
But then
it.
once she is, you can't.
Once it's
stop
in,
playing.
it's like we can't. It's a push. We're going through.
I just want to play SnowRunners. No.
It's kind of weird. She's
Well, everybody's resistant until you push them down the hill, then they can't stop rolling.
exactly.
That's what I've always
An
said. You just
object-
push somebody down a hill.
An object at rest tends to stay at rest, and an object in motion tends to stay at motion.
Newton's third law.
I don't fucking. All right, now you're getting a little crazy. It's a Newton law. I don't know which one's which.
Third? If I'm right, and I'm not, don't tell me.
I'm trying to think of like I have been watching some random shit, but it's like not really anything of consequence. I think. Yeah.
All right.
That's it though.
Fair enough.
What do you got for me?
MLB.
MLB the show,
Football Manager 2020.
of course.
Because, I got to get my sports fix.
It's
And then I'm
hard.
like, dude, there's some zombies or things that aren't zombies that I need to shoot. So, The Last of Us 2. About 10 or so hours in, I think. So, yeah. I'm going through that.
Been gaming.
Might be done with it by Friday or by our next podcast. Potentially. We'll see. I don't know how long it might take me to get through it. So, I might be done by then. Might be done in 2 weeks. It depends on how much time I put down to that versus doing other things. So. Yeah, just been doing the game. And I mean, and SpongeBob's out this week too, so that'll take a little bit of my pull away. Also, I don't think I mentioned him last week. Maybe I did. Tell me if I did. Annihilation. Watched Annihilation. Sci-fi
Is that the one with
horror movie?
Natalie Portman? No.
Yeah? Yeah, I think that's her.
Oscar Isaac as well?
Yeah, Oscar Isaac.
Okay.
Her oh my god, why am I forgetting one of my favorite actresses' names right now? Oh, who plays Valkyrie and Thor? Tessa Thompson.
Okay.
She's in it as well. It's an interesting movie. It doesn't like stick with me. I'm not like, oh, you should go watch it. It's just kind of like, all right. Watch Magnificent Seven. Good movie.
Interesting.
You should watch it.
Okay.
Really like Chris Pratt in it. Sad turn of events. But I like him.
Sad turn of events. I didn't want to watch Magnificent Seven because I've never seen any of the previous ones.
I haven't either.
And I don't want to. I have this goal to watch because, like, you always hear, like, good filmmakers always say that Akira Kurosawa was a major influence for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never watched any of his movies.
Right.
And like that's always been a thing where I'm like, oh, I should watch his movies. And that'll be a baseline for like, you know,
Going
everything
forward.
else.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't want to watch a movie like The Magnificent Seven is based on The Magnificent Seven,
Right.
which is based on Seven Samurai. So
Right.
I don't want to like color Seven Samurai by watching The Magnificent Seven.
Right. Without watching Seven Samurai
Yeah.
first. Yeah. I don't know. I would definitely sit down and watch Seven Samurai with you, but Magnificent Seven was a good movie. I enjoyed it. And then I watched, it's not on there, but I watched A Quiet Place.
Okay.
Whatever.
There
are certain things when it gets to horror movies that I just hate.
Did you watch
Children
Bird Box?
that cause problems?
Yeah, I mean,
Every time. It's the problem I had. Not to mention that The Purge was a bad movie to begin with. But I didn't want to watch it based on the trailer where the girl just presses the button and goes, I let that person in house now. And I'm like, you should be killed and thrown to the wolves. What are you doing, you stupid child?
I have a very unpopular opinion
That might not be true on this podcast.
about kids.
Still might not be true on this podcast.
I don't have kids. I want to preface this by saying I
Neither.
don't have kids.
To be fair, neither of us have kids. I just told you to throw one to the wolves. So
And I know that there's the argument that like, you know, you
Once
you
you
won't-
have 'em-
you'll understand.
yeah, opinions change.
I believe that we are overprotective of kids, and
Ooh, interesting.
the idea is that this is where it gets juicy. They can be replaced.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
In the wild, generally, if the parent has to abandon the child, it does so to survive because it can make more.
Yeah, or for the betterment of a family or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
you have 3 cubs, one gets half eaten. See you later. I'm sorry. I got things to do.
Yeah. If I am with my wife and a small child and it's the zombie apocalypse and we're stuck in a house or something or wherever and you know, I can make another one of you with the wife.
Zombie eats your baby.
I will throw the baby out the window to run out the back door.
Well, here's the thing there is I see what you're saying.
Yes.
And I understand.
Yeah.
I think where we might differ
It won't be so active.
the first line of defense wouldn't have been, I have a baby, I'll throw that.
Well, I was being a little extreme, but
yeah. But it would have been like, in A Quiet Place. Do you plan on watching A Quiet Place? If you plan on watching A Quiet Place, go ahead and watch it. Stop listening right now. In A Quiet Place,
I don't watch horror movies generally, so.
yeah, the woman is pregnant.
Okay.
The things, the monsters, are attracted to sound.
Okay.
Why would you bring a baby, one of the loudest creatures
Oh my
in existence,
God.
into the world where sound is a problem?
Yeah, see, that's just...
Like, that seems like an issue. Also, children with toys with batteries. Seems like a problem. Also, one of the most significant deaths in the movie, if not the most, is caused by the child getting her father killed.
Yeah, see, like, that's the shit I'm talking about right there.
And it all goes to, like, there's a moment where, and it kind of trips the whole thing up, but the wife is going up the stairs, I believe, and is carrying a, like, burlap sack of something and gets it caught on a nail. Now, I don't know if you've ever nailed anything together, but think about this for a second. You're going upstairs, you snag a nail. When you pull the sack, like, past it, like, aggressively, you don't try to do anything, you just kind of, like, pull it through because you don't want to make noise. So instead of taking a slight step back down and slowly pulling it off the nail, you yank as hard as you can. And that nail comes up. What way would you think that nail would come up? What side should be up?
Well, that head should be up.
What if I told you, fuck yourself, you're wrong? And the bottom of it was up. Because you nailed stairs together like a jackass from the bottom. That seems like a problem, right?
That does seem like a problem.
Then you, the woman that caused said problem, knowing it got snagged, not that you necessarily know you pulled the nail up, but you know it got snagged on something.
Mm-hmm.
When you're coming down the stairs again, granted you're in labor, not thinking straight, that's fine. But you're going down the stairs again and put your foot straight onto the nail that you caused. What? And why was the pointy end up? I can't watch horror movies because when certain things happen, I'm just like, are you kidding me? Watching The Mist. Not that great of a horror movie, but that lady dies in the shopping center. My theater cheered, and I was so happy because she's ruining everything. Also has one of the worst endings ever. Kill everybody in the car except for yourself, and then everything's fine 2 seconds after you get out. But
classic.
Yeah.
Happened too many times before.
Yeah. Just every time it just angers me. Anyway, welcome to the end of our podcast. It's been fun having you here. And we'll see you again in some amount of days from now.
Sounds good.
Goodbye.